guys, it's Laurie of Laurie's Sewing, and this morning I believe I have a pattern in this box to open, so let's get to it. This is going to be so much fun. Once this was described to me as a fabric by number, quilt by number, sew by number, I just kind of felt enchanted by the whole idea because, you know, I'm not a quilter. Funny, I did not know that they printed these little creatures on the bottom tab of boxes. Huh, funny. Oh, how fun, how fun. Okay. Move this out of the way. So it is the Quilt As You Go Sew by Number, pattern printed on batting, and it is the Alexandra Tote. The finished size should be 15 by 14 by 4. So I know from watching Shabby Fabrics with Jennifer Boswell, she has said so many times to not be tempted, or you're going to be tempted, but resist the temptation to press your June Tailor batting, because it will shape shift and you don't want that to happen. So even though it's going to come out of this package rather wrinkly, we have to just resist the idea that we need to press it. Okay, well, it looks like it comes with the inner parts for your straps. And let's go ahead and open this up. So clearly this is what you're purchasing. It's a lot. Wow. All right. So I do see numbers. 1, I don't know where 2 is, but there are a lot of numbers on here. Let's just see. Alright, so here's 1. Oh, here's 2. So I believe the idea is you will take a strip of fabric, and I will read about this so that I'm not just gonna start off doing it until I know for sure exactly what I'm doing. But you just put down your number 1 fabric. This is just an example. And then you put your second fabric right there on top and stitch. And then you do the same thing on the other side, right sides together, and stitch on the line, and then 4, and then 5, and then 6, and 7, and 8, and all. And then we're going to turn it around and do the other side, because it is, this is the boxed bottom and the boxed bottom. So this is one side, outer side of the tote, and this is the other side of the tote over here. And then you also have printed on the batting, you have your strap fabric right here, spray starch, which I will do. It does say that if you use spray starch to press your fabrics prior to cutting, it will help to reduce the distortion that you might get, and it helps with finger pressing. So whatever starch you prefer to use, they recommend the June Tailor Starch Savvy. I've never used it. Okay, let's see. We're supposed to use 1/4 inch seam allowances all the way through the project. And then it tells you how many pieces of each size you will need. So when you purchase your Quilt As You Go Alexandra tote, you will have that information. Okay, so first I guess what I'll do is sort these out by how many I have. I mean, I know this is all new to me. I've never made one before. The whole idea is very intriguing. That's the same. Alrighty, so that's what I'll do, and then I'll get these pressed and measured, and like I said, it might be a couple days. I think this is too blue. Unfortunately, I'm thinking probably not enough from what I can see. It feels like I have enough, and then it doesn't feel like I have enough. I did want to mention that because yesterday I did finish the baby blanket and both of the bubbles are done, that's going to be going in the mail. But I also have to finish this embroidery right here. So today, that's my end game. I am definitely going to be finishing this today. So I have my flosses. I think some of these flosses may be for a different project. But I'm going to go ahead and get lined up here. There we go. Perfect. All right. And as you can see, I had to go over the design with my washout ink because it was too blurry and not dark enough. Okay guys, so I finally finished this. There's this side that I basically had to freehand draw. And then here's the very first piece I did was this little sheep, and I tied a bow on her head. There's the raven. Here's the other sheep who's standing up. And then the other basket right there. So I'm going to go pop this in the wash. I want it to be nice and clean when I send it. And then I'm going to go take a picture. There is an actual flower blooming in my cut flower garden, and I want to get a picture of it before it gets frozen and dies. So I'll be back in a minute. I want the straps to coordinate with my lining fabric. I noticed that here this one is completely coordinating with the outer fabric. This one in the middle to me is more visually appealing, and I think it might be because the lining fabric is very prevalent. You can pick it out in a minute. They've got a little bit of it here, but to me that just looks like, oh, that is just too cute. This one, of course, blue is just all the jam for me right now. I swear I can't wait for that other blue fabric to come, but I want to use my blue fabric for the table linens, and that's another project that we're going to be working on real soon. And actually, seriously, it could be a June Tailor project. At this point, that's not off the books. But anyway, all right, so I will be back tomorrow, and we're going to start on something, whether it is table linens or, I don't know, I'll come up with a project, maybe this, maybe a jelly roll, something, because I have not sewn at my sewing machine in, I don't even know, like 2-3 days. It seems like it's been 2 weeks. And you know how I feel about that. So tomorrow is a sewing day, and I will see you then. Hey guys, this is the second day. I still don't have any of the fabrics that I need for the Alexandra tote. So that project has to just wait until they arrive. I do have these fabrics right here. Unfortunately, I've got other fabrics that are part of this project, so they kind of have to wait as well. What I do have, however, are these. And I've been just racking my brain trying to think of something I can do with them. I know I want it to be something for the kitchen. I know that I probably want to use all of them. Pretty much this would be this 42 inches would be too long for any of the projects that I would have in mind for my kitchen. The other issue is some of these have been cut and are not 42 inches. So one of the things that I'm in constant need of, is a cover for my bread. I make bread almost every day. I've kind of taken a couple weeks off. I started back yesterday. It was just, I kind of went through a phase there for a few weeks where I just kind of wasn't feeling it. I wanted to try to come up with something new and different. I was making the same thing over and over again, and that just gets kind of old. I always need something to cover them with once they're done. So I was kind of thinking about taking one of my unused, out of the package, kitchen towels that I use all the time, flour sack, and make a cover for that, like put these together and then attach it to a flour sack towel and then turn it to the outside. It would be double thick, but not a quilt. It would just be 2 layers of fabric. And I think that would be kind of nice because A, it would help retain heat, and B, it would look pretty. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. The thing is, I need to get that towel and then lay these out and see what I like. That's one of the issues with jelly roll fabrics. You tend to have your favorites and then the combinations that you can get, as you're looking at them. I know a lot of people they can just look at one and go light, light, dark, dark, light, light, dark, dark, and then they're happy. I love watching Donna Jordan of Jordan Fabrics do that. She just amazes me. This is what I have. Some are all 42 inches and some, like this one right here, are not. Anyway, I'm going to go grab that towel and we'll take a look. I bought these to do embroidery on, I think kind of late last year, maybe November-ish. I have 2 left that I've not imprinted with the iron-on design. So this is one of those. I haven't even looked. But I think they're 18 by 18. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Okay. This, I guess we'll consider it pretty square. Yeah, it is. Okay, so 26 by 26. So the plan that I had was to take the right side of one of these. This is pretty much this is all I use for my bread in my kitchen. And then take the right side of these and decide, I wouldn't do it as a quilt as you go, I would just put these all together and make a piece of fabric and then attach that piece of fabric to this piece of fabric, right sides together, probably cutting off the hemmed edge. I have actually unpicked this in the past for projects, but it's just too much work. I mean, honestly, I don't think I need to do that for that small amount of fabric gain. And they do make good ties if you just cut it right along the edge, right here on the wrong side. It makes a great tie for something, so you don't have to throw it away. And if you have duckbill scissors, those work well also. So I got my sister's birthday presents packaged up today, and I tried my best to remember, which apparently I've done, to tell you guys of a trick my mom used to do. She was the woman in Belhaven, North Carolina, who made all of the beautiful heirloom baby clothes. So chances are, if you were born in Belhaven, North Carolina, back in the late 1980s, early 1990s, well, actually all the way through the 80s to into the 1990s, and had heirloom clothing. You might have received it from an aunt and uncle, or your grandma, or even your mom, but my mother probably made it. So yes, that is the truth. One of the things that she used to do, she would of course also make the most beautiful little clothes for my children, and she would send them in boxes that had, they were all the little items that were going to be delivered to my children would be wrapped in tissue paper that you could just go to the dollar store and buy a big pack of tissue paper for gift wrapping. But with one difference, she would spritz it with Mary Ellen's Best Press, and then press the tissue paper, and then wrap their little dresses and whatever she made for them. She would wrap that in that tissue paper, and then by the time they got to us, they just had the lovely Mary Ellen's whatever scent she happened to have purchased. She wouldn't use any kind of perfume to do that. For one thing, my mother didn't care for perfume, but she loved to spray starch. So anyway, that was her little trick, and I did that today for my sister. Would be easy enough to do, but it's not something I'm too concerned about. I feel like this is perfect. I don't know why, but I just do. I feel like it's just perfect. So, let's see. These are the right ones. Okay guys, so I've decided I'm going to use this all-purpose dual-duty Tote thread. It's green. It will work. It is kind of an all-purpose thread. It's not my white Gutermann that I tend to try to preserve for, lack of a better word, important projects like the baby outfits, etc. For something like this, I'm sorry, hang on a minute. Okay, I was enjoying an after lunch mint and it was totally not working. I'm going to go ahead and roll up my bobbin with this and I'll be back. Okay, so the sewing machine is threaded and cleaned and ready to go, and I'm just basically going to take one 2.5 inch jelly roll strip. I'm going to line it up with two which I've written a number 2 on, and right sides together, and a 1/4 inch seam allowance right along this edge. And then when I come back, this will be flipped open and 3 will then be right sides together, and I'll just continue on down until I get to the end. Okay, so it's totally finished. I went ahead and did a line of stitching just along these edges. I don't know if that's showing up or not. Yeah, a little bit. You can see that one. There's one there and there and there and there. And it's been pressed with starch. So the next thing here, I'm going to just flip it over. I know it's not right sides together yet, but I want to see what size I'm working with. Okay, so I'm thinking down here I will leave an open spot where I can turn this right side out, and I'm just going to mark that with a friction ink pen. So probably about, I knew I had really stabbed myself. Okay, let's say here. Okay. I'm going to flip this over and mark it on both sides. There it is. Okay. Okay, so I'm just trimming out the excess fabric at my little opening here, and the way I do that is I get right into that corner, right where my stitching is, and I trim that off. And I'll do that on the other side, right here, just like that. Leave yourself a little bit of fabric. You don't want to cut it too short next to your stitching. And then we're going to just take a pair of straight scissors and cut into that corner right there. So just snip to the stitching right there, and then clip off your little corners. And we'll turn it right side out. Okay. And let's see how that gate works. So because I stitched those in like that, this just naturally wants to fall right in line with the rest of my stitching effortlessly. So I'm going to go press this, and then we'll stitch all the way around the outer edge. Alright, so I love it. It's a great thing to have for the kitchen. But one thing I've noticed is my sewing machine is not calibrated, and that is something I won't be able to fix. So I'll either have to decide I'm going to live with it being this way, or, I mean, you can see the stitches, they switch from close together to far apart, close together, far apart. So I will have to decide what I'm going to do about George. He'll either be taken to the sewing machine shop and kind of given a good thorough once over, or I'll just learn to live with it. We'll see. Okay guys, so I think this is a fun project. I think it'll be a perfect addition to my kitchen. You could use it in any capacity that you could use a dish towel. This side would be the soft and absorbent side. This side is just for looks. You could put it under your dishes beside the sink for draining. You could wrap your, put it in a bowl and wrap Sunday biscuits in it. I will probably put it over my big giant bread bowl so my bread can rise underneath. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. In the next few days I should be receiving the remaining parts and pieces and bits and bobs that I will need to start on the Quilt As You Go. Sew by Number, Alexandra Tote by June Tailor. I'm really excited about the lining fabric that I decided to go with, and I also decided to surprise you rather than show you a picture of it. I think you'll really like it. I think it's going to be really cute, and I will try to remember to link all of those that I have as they come in the videos below when I'm doing the actual video. Honestly, I don't remember. I'll try to find, if I can find it, I will link it down below this video in that description box down there. The towels, again, like I said, I just look for what's on sale. They are either going to be broomsticked like this, or they will be smooth, and it's basically a you get what you get. So if this aesthetic is not something that you like, I would recommend that you purchase yours in person from a store. You might pay more for them, but at least you won't have the ever-present crinkles that don't bother me at all. I don't mind. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so. We would love to have you join us. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.